Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Catch All Media channel. My name is Andrew, and tonight we're just going to do a live stream. Pretty relaxed, not as long as the last one, much more buttoned up, and I actually have some kind of an agenda for this one. Um, the live streams are probably going to continue to be a thing, just because right now with my schedule, I really don't have a lot of time to record a video, edit it, put in the kind of things that I want to do and put it up. So right now, just to get on here and do what I really want to do, going live is very conducive for that, and is much more convenient. So it's going to be pretty quick today. Like I said, I just have a couple things that came in this week that I want to kind of talk about, and then I want to do two quick reviews on two titles I picked up this week. One is from 101 Films, and the other one is from Vinegar Syndrome. So we'll do those last because I know you guys are probably most interested in the collection update. So this first package came in from Zabi, the U.S. site. It took about 3 weeks to get here. I'm not sure why. One of the packages was, or one of the items in the order itself was on stock pick. So I assume that, I ordered it and then right afterwards it went on stock pick. So it came up for, a 3-week delivery, which is fine. Most people already have this in, but I still wanted to share it with you guys because they're two fantastic releases. So the first one coming from Zabi is Arrow Videos, Vengeance Trails. Fantastic artwork. You guys can't really read the back, but the J card does come off, and it's kind of just a plain image there on the back of like a desert feel. And there's what the spines look like. That glare will be fixed for the next one. I have an anti-glare cover for my laptop coming, so we'll test that out. But on the inside, you do get one of their posters that usually come with a limited edition or a box set, and it is always double-sided. So you'll have the U.S. artwork, usually the artwork that Arrow puts out with the release. And on this one, it looks like it's double-sided with both U.S. artwork from Arrow. So there's Banditos and Massacre Time as well. I have not seen any of these. I'm a big spaghetti western fan. I've really been enjoying going through the Sartana set, Day of Anger, a couple other Lee Van Cleef movies, and the Ringo set with Giuliano Gemma, which that one was. Those two movies are not. They're not very good, honestly. They're enjoyable, but he is also not one of my favorite Western leading men. Lee Van Cleef would probably be the first one, and then Franco Nero as well. But we'll go ahead and just take these out real quick. You do get a very nice booklet, as always. It's not hardback bound. Some of them have been in the past. But, it just gives you an overview of some of the 4 titles in here. One of the drawing factors for this box set for me was Massacre Time because it's directed by Lucio Fulci. And I have not seen any Lucio Fulci Westerns. I've seen a couple Lucio Fulci films. I think the most popular one that I've seen was City of the Living Dead, which was good, but not really my taste. I'm excited to get into this though to see what a Western from Lucio Fulci is going to look like. There's And God Said to Cain, Klaus Kinski in that one. Banditos, which apparently from all the reviews that I've watched, people have said Banditos has been their favorite in this box set. So I'm excited to get into it and see that. And My Name is Pecos. So that one, the artwork is very solid. All these have great artwork, just like Arrow always does. You can flip them over to the original artwork as well. Usually for the Western releases that are just single editions or even some of the double features, I'll flip it around to the original artwork because that's usually what I like. But with these, I'll probably keep them. So that's Vintage Trails. And the other thing in that Zabi order was Indicator's release of Body Double, which is a Brian De Palma film. The inside of the release is plain because I believe this was a re-release of a standard edition, which I'm okay with that. The back, simple. I'm excited to get into this one. I've been going through Brian De Palma and David Cronenberg's filmography. I'm not through either of them fully. But Cronenberg, I would say I've seen the majority of his films, and there's actually a Cronenberg film in here that we're going to talk about. But the next order I got is from Orbit DVD. So a funny thing about this is when I stumbled across Orbit, I thought that this was like a hidden gem that nobody else knew about. I thought maybe like I had the secret, but because it's only about 2 hours away from where I live, their brick and mortar store. So I was like, this is awesome. And like maybe a week after I found out about Orbit, I drove to the brick and mortar store and went in and bought quite a few things. But it's it was an awesome experience because I could just go in and see all of these titles that I see online all the time on Zavvi, Diabolic DVD, these other retailer websites, but they were all in person, which I had never seen these in person, unless it's a Scream Factory release or even an Arrow or a Vestron in FYE for, $20 more than what they sell it for anywhere else, which is always a bummer. So anyway, I thought that this was something that nobody else knew about, but apparently this is a company that is growing very quickly and people are learning about. So this is the package I got in. It actually shipped out about 30 minutes right before I got to the store the day I drove up there. So that was kind of funny because, I was just planning on, if it hadn't shipped, just picking it up while I was there. But either way, nevertheless, this was a nice package to receive. So getting into it, the first one is the Region B release of Dawn of the Dead. I can't remember which company. This is from Second Sight. So Second Sight looks like they put out quite a few unique releases. I know that this had a limited edition box set that was very large, and it came with a bunch of extras in it. This is the standard re-release, I believe, because I missed out on that first one. But the artwork is still pretty phenomenal. The back, you have the same kind of thing going on. Open it up, more of the similar zombie silhouette theme. Now, I know that this comes with quite a few different releases of the film, I believe. So opening it up, it looks like you get the theatrical cut. You get the extended cans cut. You do get the Argento cut, which I'm excited to see because I have not seen this movie at all. And I'm a big Argento fan. So, getting into this section of horror really is only in the last year kind of thing for me, or even spaghetti Western, cult kind of movies. I really discovered cult movies through Arrow, and I think Arrow was kind of like my foot in the door. And now I'm just down the rabbit hole trying to consume as much as I can. So very excited. You do get the 3 cuts and a bonus disc. So this is a 4-disc set of Dawn of the Dead. Very excited to watch this one. This one will be one of the first ones that I watch out of all the stuff that I've gotten lately, which I have kind of amassed quite a few pickups in the past 2 weeks. And speaking of that, there is a sale going on right now on Zavvi US. It's their birthday sale. The US site, you're going to get, I think they're 40% price drops on Arrow titles, and then 2 for $25 on select 88 Films titles. And the UK, if you're region free or if you are region B, on the UK website right now, they have the promotion going. If you use the code Arrow40, they have 40% off of a lot of titles, and they're already marked down. So like the female Scorpion or Prisoner Scorpion box set, whatever the exact name is marked down to $55, but then it's 40% on top of that. So the UK has a really good sale going on right now with Zavvi. They also, in that same sale, have a indicator code, which is Powerhouse, and that is 30% off of certain select films that they have in a sale section. So either way, those are 2 really nice codes and sales going on for the UK. I wish that those codes worked in the US as well, but they don't. And I didn't know because I'd never been on the UK site, but the UK site and the US site have different companies on them. So the UK has, I think I saw, I can't remember which company they had that the US site didn't have, but there's quite a few more on the UK than the US. But nevertheless, if you're US or UK, there are 2 sales going on right now with Zavvi. The next one that I got in from the Orbit delivery was Major Dundee. Awesome release of this. I have never seen this one either, but what really drew me to it is that it's a Sam Peckinpah film. Don't believe that I've seen any of his work, but in the Western community and some of the more golden age of Hollywood type talk, I hear about Sam Peckinpah a lot. So this will be my introduction, and I think it's a good place to start because I'm very interested to see the film. It looks like something I would really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to getting into it. But this is the Region B release as well. It was cheaper, and it just made sense. I mean, I'm region free, so but you do get the theatrical as well as the extended version in the package from Arrow, and a booklet again. So this one is thicker than the Vintage Trails book, but still, paperback. These always have a nice glossy feel on the outside, and these really are a great source of information for all these sets. That sounds obvious and redundant, but I think that more people should read through these because it is fantastic just to have these, just to have them in the set and know that we get this extra with our release. But I don't feel like enough people read them, and I'm guilty of not getting all the way through a booklet as well. So I think that I'm trying to make more of an effort to read through all these booklets because they're just really a fantastic extra that we get. I know I take them for granted. So that was a Major Dundee. Can't wait to watch this one. I'm very excited. And the last one from the Orbit order is one that I'm very. I wasn't going to buy it originally because at the time that this came out, I was not region free, and I'm not 4K either, so I didn't really have much of a draw to buy this. But now that I've gone region free, I wanted to get it just to have it in the collection. It's a beautiful looking set. A lot of people really like this movie. It's one that I haven't gotten to. It's probably, I think, the only Tarantino movie I haven't seen besides Grindhouse and Planet Terror. So if that doesn't give it away, this is the Arrow release of True Romance. Only put out in the UK, so there is no Region A release of this. So if you want to pick it up, you're going to need to be region free, or if you're in the UK, you have to go ahead. So this is not the Steelbook, obviously. This is not the 4K. This is the Blu-ray set. But I was really excited to get my hands on this because I thought that it was pretty hard to find at this point. It did go, the pre-orders were jam-packed. As soon as it went on sale, I feel like it was out of sale pretty quickly everywhere. So, but Orbit is a great source. Their website is orbitdvd.com. They don't do pre-orders, but their restocks are very frequent, and you can find some good hidden gems in their restocks too. So let's just look at the artwork on the front here, and then you're right up on the back, of course. The reversible artwork is the original artwork. So nice artwork on both sides, but I like the art that the Arrow did on the outside here. I'm going to keep that one. Just an awesome cover for that. On the inside, you do have the what are these called? I can't remember. I'm blanking. Art cards. We're going to call them art cards. So you get looks to be about 5 or 6 of these. These are not one of my favorite extras that we get sometimes. I'm not really into the art cards. That's just my preference, but it doesn't really do much for me. So aside from this, we obviously get a booklet as well. Classic picture of what I've seen is the cover on some other releases in the past. And then the back, Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette again. So flipping through this one, this is one that has the matte glossy feeling is not on the outside of this book. This is more of a sturdier material, very close to almost cardboard paper. But good booklet in here, about the same size as the Vintage Trails and the Major Dundee booklets. So sometimes you get a booklet and it's about 30 pages, and sometimes you luck out and you get a booklet and it's 50 to 60 pages. So I didn't show the Major Dundee poster, but that one, it didn't really impress me. I mean, it's always the same art, but just didn't really look that great in person. This one, I believe, is very. I mean, this is worth showing because it's a standout poster. They did a great job with this artwork. Obviously, on the other side, you have the original artwork as well. So, great poster with this, great release. I am going to get to it at some point. Honestly, it's not at the top of my list, but what I'm hoping for is that I put this off for long enough that when I do watch it, it blows me away, and I kick myself for not watching it sooner, because that means that I really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping I do. So, True Romance, the last from the Orbit order. And there's one thing left to open. I did already rip open the top. I'm pretty positive I know what this is, but I do have some other things coming in, so it could be one of a few things. But, oh, nice. I didn't think I was going to get the slipcover with it. So, this is Vestron's release of Shivers from David Cronenberg. This was directed in 1975. This is one of his earlier works, but I know this is kind of like a cult favorite for people. I've heard good and bad about this. That artwork on the front is just awesome. The slipcover looks beautiful in person. It's got more of a reflective glossy shine to it. So very happy to get that. This was about $8 on Amazon Prime. So if you don't have this in your collection yet and you're trying to pick up some more Vestron releases, I would definitely jump on it, because I got the slipcover and this has been out for quite a while from what I know. So very excited to have this one. I'm going to quickly open it up. I know the inside is never really reversible art from what I've seen so far. So, but I just want to see the whole release. Same artwork on the disc and the digital code. If you saw the digital code in that moment, then that's fantastic. You can have it. I don't use digital codes. If you didn't and you want it, let me know, because I'm not going to use it, and I will let you have it. So I got to plug my laptop in real quick, and then we will finish it up with 2 reviews. See, that's one thing I really enjoy about these lives, is that you can't edit them. I can't stop and say, oh, sorry about the interruption, and then put it all together. We just go. We just rolling. I've been wanting to make this video for a few days. I'm thinking about doing some morning live streams, because I feel like that would be a really fun thing to do. Like, sit here, drink my coffee, talk about whatever the subject is for that video, and just kind of start the day like that. So I am enjoying doing these live streams. It's very fun to kind of do it, and you're on the spot. You have no safety net. You're flying with no parachute. So to round it out tonight, what I want to do is go over these 2 releases. Grave Robbers from Vinegar Syndrome and Spookies from 101 Films. These are 2, I'm grouping them together because Spookies does have a Vinegar Syndrome release. So technically, if I wanted to call this, Vinegar Syndrome double feature reviews, it would be accurate. But I watched both of these this week, back-to-back nights, because I watched Spookies first, and that was really my first intro to, this kind of release that Vinegar Syndrome and Severin put out, where they take a movie that isn't very good, but they upscale the restorations, and then they'll make beautiful artwork, slipcovers, cases for some things, like we saw with Six String Samurai and Scanner Cop. 2 releases that I'm very much on the fence about, but it kind of ties into this review. So starting with Spookies, we'll go over this 101 Films physical release real quick. So Spookies, there's the cover, and the back is just your regular write-up. The cover art for the case itself is different, and it looks, pretty nice right there. The inside is very bare. You just get the 2 discs here. You do get 2 documentaries on the second disc. One is a kind of a making of story, and the other one is about Vipco, which is a UK film distributor. Full disclosure, I haven't watched either of those. I am very much into watching them, but I wanted to go through the whole thing and then do kind of more of an in-depth review of it, But this week I just didn't have extra time to watch special features. It was either watch special features or watch another movie, and I just chose to watch another movie. So we're just going to do a quick review of these without the special features involved. But you do get a booklet, very much the same sturdiness of that True Romance booklet. It's very interesting on the inside. Interesting design choice and kind of a very abstract, weird art. But getting into the movie itself, this movie, it is a bad movie. It is. It's a bad movie. If you've seen it, you know it's a bad movie. If you own it and you're promoting it, you know it's a bad movie. They released it. They know it's a bad movie. But with that being said, it was so much fun. I had a great time watching it. So for me, and I think for a lot of people that buy these releases, you know that it's not going to be a cinematic masterpiece. You're not going to talk about the writing. You're not going to talk about the cinematography or certain shots. You're not going to talk about the plot. It's just not, that's not it. So, but with that being said, this movie is very enjoyable. It's ridiculous. The story is out there. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which if you know the story behind the making of the movie, from what I know, then that kind of lines up with the fact that it had two different directors, one that did most of the movie, the other one that did some of the movie, and kind of trying to mash all that footage, all those scenes together and make a cohesive story, which would have been impossible. It was because they couldn't do it. But the movie starts out with two groups in cars, and it looks like they're driving around. The guy in the lead car's a douchebag, and he's your typical douchebag. So eventually they end up at this house, which has a bunch of tombstones in the front yard. The guy thinks it's awesome. They go inside, and then it kind of goes from there. There's also this kid at the beginning it's his birthday. You find out that it's his 13th birthday. His parents forgot about his birthday, so he runs out, and he's going to spend the night out alone by himself to prove that he is a man to himself, and he doesn't need him. So I will say this is a small spoiler for this movie. So if you want to skip ahead like 30 seconds, go ahead unless you're live with me. I'm going to spoil it. If you can't handle watching a kid get murdered, I would say brutally, but they don't execute it well enough for it to be brutal. It's intended to be brutal. He gets Freddy Krueger style slashed across the face a couple times and then buried alive. So if you don't really want to see that, or you can't handle that, definitely steer away. But back to the non-spoiler stuff. I respect what they tried to do with this movie. That's why, that's half of why I'm enjoying it, is because it had grand ideas. The plot was it done correctly, much like most plots, but done correctly, this could have been a good movie. This could have had a good story, but it just went too many different ways to come back and be concise. Some of the acting was so dry. I just chuckled. And it wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was, and it was enjoyable. And that's part of the draw to these releases, I believe. Overall, I do recommend picking up Spookies just for the spectacle of it. You're going to have some fun with it. There's going to be some scenes that are actually genuinely enjoyable. There's going to be some scenes that are absolutely ridiculous and they fall flat, and you really sit into the scenes. They lean into them. They make them longer than they should be, and you really spend time with some of those awkward scenes. But it is enjoyable. I do recommend it, and I applaud them for a concept that could have been done very well, but was not. And thankfully, we have the opportunity to have that, and we have the opportunity now to view this kind of movie, that it is not your Hollywood blockbuster or even your mid-grade production and release nowadays. So Spookies, I do recommend. That gets a thumbs up from me. This is, like I said, the 101 Films Region B release, but Vinegar Syndrome has put out a release for all the people in the U.S. So that was Spookies. And to round it out tonight, we're at about 25 minutes, and we're not going to take this longer than 30. So I'll make this one nice, short, and sweet. Grave Robbers from Vinegar Syndrome. This was part of I believe there's four of them, four releases from a Mexican director by the name of Ruben Galindo Jr., I believe. Yeah, Ruben Galindo Jr. Um, the other one that he put out through Vinegar Syndrome, the other one that's the most popular one, from what I can tell, is what is it? Don't Panic, with the kid in the pajamas. That's half of what I've heard about the movie, is that there's this kid in, about 30 minutes in, he puts these pajamas on, and even though nothing about the movie calls for someone to have pajamas on, it doesn't make any sense. He has the pajamas on for the rest of the movie. But getting back to Grave Robbers, this one I've thoroughly enjoyed. I would say that they're both bad movies, Spookies and Grave Robbers. But if I was to watch one of them again, it would definitely be Grave Robbers, because from beginning to end, they were close. I mean, they just, with a little bit more money, a little bit more put into the production, they could have had a good film, because the story is actually not that bad. It starts out with kids in a cemetery and they're going grave robbing. It seems to be that they've been to quite a few different cemeteries at this point and have picked up nothing. So they're in this kind of an environment to where they're desperate to find something in one of these caskets under one of these graves. So they get to the point where they are so fed up with not finding anything and being unsuccessful grave robbers that they don't know what to do. So eventually they do fall through a casket and they end up in an underground sort of tomb environment, but it's almost like catacombs. And it goes from there, and you see in the very beginning of the movie, before you even see the kids, there's a man with a sacrifice involved of a certain sort. Whether it's successful or not kind of plays out. But anyway, there is a man who ends up being murdered with an axe. And for the circumstances of the situation that they're in, I don't want to say exactly the whole scenario, because it is kind of a chunk of the plot, especially down towards the third act. So I don't want to ruin that. But the crux of it is, this man is murdered with an axe. The axe sticks into his chest. And it is there when they stumble upon this body in the catacombs. The kids find a bunch of jewelry, find a bunch of expensive items down in the catacombs. They're so excited, but then they find this body. And one of the kids, being kind of the brazen, reckless, prove to everybody else that I'm big and bad attitude, has to take the axe out. So they take the axe out, and they go from there. And very quickly past that point is when you find out who it is that's going to be the guy in this movie that's murdering everyone. And it goes from there, and it's very enjoyable. I don't want to give any spoilers, because I do recommend picking this one up as well. Because overall, like I said, between the two movies, Spookies was a good time. And Grave Robbers was a good time as well, with less shitty dialogue, less shitty scenes, scenes that were almost good. In Spookies, there were some scenes where genuinely they had a chance to make them tense, to make them very nerve-wracking, to really build up a lot of momentum and then pay it off. And they built up a decent amount of momentum, and there's just no payoff for any of those scenes ever. It always ended with something that was just so ridiculous and laugh out loud funny that you couldn't take it serious. With Grave Robbers, there are some really good kills. The special effects are low-budget special effects. And I think with both of these movies, a big part of these is going in with tempered expectations, setting the table for what you're about to watch and judging it based off of that. Because if you can do that, I definitely think that both of these are worth adding to your collection. One thing I do want to talk about before we get out of here is I have not really been an early adopter of Vinegar Syndrome or Severin, and not being Region B, I wasn't a 101 Films buyer. But now, and I'm on the fence here. This is something I kind of want to talk about so that I can think about it with you guys and kind of work through my own decision process here. These releases are fun. They're a lot of fun, but they're also pretty expensive, which isn't a big deal in the long run, because I don't mind putting money into the collection. But when I think about it and I'm looking at Spookies and Grave Robbers were both, I believe, $28, and the difference in those alone is like pretty large to be the same price, because you do get this nice box and the booklet in here for this 101 release, and then with the Vinegar Syndrome release without the slipcover, you just get the disc and the artwork and the case, and there is reversible artwork on this as opposed to the 101 Films release, but you don't. There's nothing else to draw to this for, in my opinion, it to be $28. Now, that's not a slight at Vinegar Syndrome. That's not a slight at any of you all that are heavily into Vinegar Syndrome and buy a lot of their titles. It's just more so a thing for me where I feel like we're in this point now in the collecting phase, because it's so niche and it's kind of, we're in the last leg of it. We're in the last renaissance, I believe. So we're in this space where now we have so many options, so many companies, that you have a space for everyone. Everyone has their thing. Everyone puts out, basically their mission statement. This is what we do. And there's definitely a home in the market for what Vinegar Syndrome puts out. And that's why they're blowing up, because they put the quality production with these releases and the quality restorations, and they do put a lot of love into the films that they're bringing us, whether they're good or not, which they have always been upfront, from what I understand from other collectors telling me, is they're very upfront with the fact that these films are not Oscar-worthy films, and they kind of market that, and people know that, and they've done a great job of carving out their share of the market and getting their piece of the pie. But we're in this space now, to get back to the point, we're in this space now where the quality of the film and the quality of the release can be just as important as one another. So, I can buy Grave Robbers, or, Spookies would be a better example. I can buy Spookies from 101 Films with this fantastic love put into this artwork, this packaging, this release in itself. Sorry if I'm rambling. I just got home from work and I'm very tired, but you can buy that, and it's not a great film, but the packaging is incredible. Or I can buy The Devil's Backbone from Criterion during the sale at the same price, and actually cheaper than the $28 you would pay for a Vinegar Syndrome movie, where it's not a good film. And even with the Criterion release during the sale, you do get like a pamphlet, and you do get a nice wealth of special features, which I will give it to Vinegar Syndrome and Severin. They seem to be putting a lot of love into the special features as well. But the point of my rambling here is that it's interesting to me that now we're in the landscape where the boxes and the way it looks on the shelf and all these very, physical appeals to the eye, essentially, are just as important as the film that's inside of this packaging. And that's interesting to me. That's something that, you think about. It's like, why do we care that much? Because ultimately we are, the packaging and the collecting is an effect of the cause, which is the movie. Because we're always buying. The whole point of physical releases to begin with was so you could own the movie. And now I feel like we're doing both, and we're making it work. But it's just such an interesting, fascinating thing for me to kind of see, because I do it as well. I've bought things just based off of the packaging. For example, I just did it the other day with Vinegar Syndrome. I ordered Pandemonium, I believe it's called. And the slipcover is awesome. It's got this guy with, he's a slasher, and it looks like they're at a camp or they're at a party or something. It looks ridiculous and it looks awesome. And I got it for a good price, and I didn't even know anything about the movie. And then I go on YouTube and I watch the trailer, and it looks like trash. It looks bad. And I'm not talking about like so good or so bad it's good. It just looks bad. It doesn't even look entertaining. The kind of movie that they're going for does not look like something I would enjoy. But I bought it just for the packaging and then went to look up the film later. So, we all do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I digress. That was just my feelings on Vinegar Syndrome and, the strange relationship that I'm starting to have with them, in the fact that their releases are so appealing, but it's hard for me personally to justify dropping a $65 blind buy on Scanner Cop or a $40 blind buy on Six Stream Samurai, even though they look fantastic. It's just, for me, that chance of not enjoying the release doesn't really outweigh the chance that it'll go out of print and I won't be able to get it, So most likely I will be picking up both of those titles, because we all know how we are, in the fact that, I'll go on and I'll add it to my cart, and then I'll just back out right before ordering it. And I'll do it a couple times before I'm just like on the fence and I finally give in. So don't be surprised if you do see both of those titles come in, and we'll talk about them and we'll look at them and I'll watch them and we'll discuss more. But that's all I got tonight, guys. I just kind of wanted to come on and spend some time with you guys, basically, and talk about these movies, because I love this stuff. Getting releases in, looking through them, looking at all the features, checking out the movie itself, and then just talking about it is so much fun and so enjoyable that I had to come on and do it, even though I've just worked 12 hours and probably a little bit all over the place. Hopefully it was still enjoyable to a certain extent. So that's going to do it, guys. We'll look at a nice little wrap up here. See if we can get a decent shot with no glare. There is the first stack, and minus Grave Robbers. There is the second stack, second editions. I do have some Severin titles coming in. I have not watched a Severin release yet. I did order 2 that I have not seen. I haven't seen a lot of these low budget B-movie schlock, but fantastic movies. So, we'll probably be doing some of that coming up. We'll probably be doing some. I'm really dipping my toe in the water of these companies that I'm not familiar with, to see if I enjoy them, and to see, what kind of a market or what kind of a share in my collection they're going to end up having. Because right now it's very much outnumbered Arrow and Criterion, everyone else, just because it's hard to resist. They do a lot of the things that I enjoy. And even if there's a Criterion release of a film that I really want to see, and there's an Arrow release, I'll usually buy the Arrow release, because for me, it's just better quality. But anyway, guys, that's it for tonight. 2 films that have a lot of heart but are not very well made, and a look at some of the new stuff coming into the collection this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have a great night or a great morning, whatever part of the day you're seeing this. But I am going to get out of here and most likely go watch Cronenberg's Shivers. So you guys have a great one, and I'll see you in the next.